Okay, people, here we go. EP number 2 of 2026 from the Resurgent Getter, and it is aptly called Doom 2 as a follow up to simply Doom. But this one, pretty star studded from the off before we get into it, before we start hearing it. 4 collaborations on this one. We've got Zoe 808, we've got Sudden Death, which we've heard already. That video is already up on the channel, the coverage of that particular single. We've got Space Laces, and we've got Moody Good as well. So that's four pretty big producers in the scene. I mean, Zoe 808 maybe a little bit newer, but you know, still a big player, formerly known as Diamond Pistols, of course. And yeah, interestingly here, some of them are featured, and the Sudden Death one is just like a full collab. But yeah, the other ones are features, so I don't know quite how that's going to work or what that's going to sound like. And the fact alone that Getter's come out with another EP so quickly, like, you add Doom to this one, and you've got a whole album's worth of songs, of tracks. So very interesting how this is all playing out. But you know, very much welcoming Getter getting back into his bass music, releasing rhythm, if you will. That was a little bit of a tongue twister, but we're going with it. But yeah, let's just crack on with the EP, shall we? The opener with Zoe 808, as aforementioned, is Murder. Let's get it, shall we?
Don't make this to no murder fool. Here we go again.
Oi. Bum 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 bum. Ooh. Bop 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 bop. That's where my what's at. Yeah, it's pretty simple, but it's got a lot of weight to it at the same time. It's got a lot of gravitas about it, and it's a bit more skeletal sounding than other bass heavy Getter stuff we've gotten recently. Okay. So it's got a body to it. The flow's there. Yeah, where my that whatever's being said there, I'm for it because that vocal is sick. Classic Getter hip hop style kind of vocal. Okay, yeah, just to pause before we keep going with the EP, I think it's important to kind of dwell on that one a little bit because it is significantly different from the more, you know, overly hip-hoppy, Tara Reid kind of infused bass music that we got more of on Doom, I think, and which has kind of permeated his aesthetic and his production methods for many years now, you know, post-Visceral, but in the last like few years, and you're thinking, is all his bass music now just going to be like stodgy, weighty, grainy kind of hip hop dubstep kind of blend music? This is a little bit of a a movement away from that, which is good. It's got a bit more of a icy skeletal feel to it in the percussion, which is probably where Zoe 808 comes in, and that's going all the way back to, you know, his 2016 2015 form as Getter, you know, that kind of music that was being made. So whilst it does still have that weight and that chunkiness to it, and it plods along well, it's got that beef, got that body, it has still got this like icy, yeah, on its feet energy that I don't think we've heard from him for a fair while. You know, vocal sample was sick. Idea is quite simple, and a few people did pick up on that. Maybe there's something missing, like an element missing there that's really gonna, you know, launch it forward and maybe go back to it again and again and again. But nah, I think for now it's just like a decent opener. You're just like, yeah, I can hear the Getter. You can see where the Zoe 808 might come in. Track number 2 we have, of course, heard already, Unorthodox with Sudden Death. Bigs in the chat, people. Bigs in the chat. Get your bigs in the chat. Charismatic K9 finally made it to a live stream. Big up and welcome. Thank you for all the bigs in the chat. Tyrone says this track grew on me a lot. Boom. It's this bit that takes me out of the experience a little bit. It just gets a little bit muddy. It just gets a little bit muddy and a little bit convoluted with the layout of sounds, like just kind of just grouped together in a little bit of a stodgy way, you know. When that sound comes in first, sorry, with the first drop, you're like, wow, that's sick. It's got that really like plosive kind of and this is the cleanliness that we kind of want, I think, from them as a combination. Where you can hear everything clearly, you know? Because when that first drop, like I was saying, when that first drop goes on, you're just like, it just gets a little bit convoluted. I think, yeah, I like the drops. At least the first drop when it comes in, I like separately from that second drop. It's like I enjoy bits about them both individually, but together it's not like, I don't think there's like a lineage or like a follow-on from the first drop to the second drop. They're pretty different. I don't know if they exist alongside one another musically. Sonically, like sound-wise, I think there's a really nice tie-up there, that kind of gloominess to it. I think that's really cool. Bit spooky. But the musical direction that we're taken on, they're completely different. It's like two different tracks kind of being brought together there. Middle track is in collaboration with the one and only Mix King. Space Laces, Mr. Ian Slider himself. We all know who he... Try that again. We all know who he... We all know who he is. Heavyweight. Track number 3, middle cut. E. strawberry laces. Big fan, and as long as they haven't got gelatin in them. Gelatin. That's vintage. Vintage laces. Wait, what's that? What's that ID? Bam ba bam 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 ba bam bam. That voltage ID. You know the one I'm talking about. You know the one I'm talking about. You guys know the track titles, the ID track titles. I don't. Wam ba bam bum, wam ba bum 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 bum, wam ba bum. Yeah, it's the acid house one, isn't it? In Voltage 001, it's that one. But this is like, this just sounds pretty similar. Maybe that is that, just slowed down a little bit. I don't know, but it does sound pretty similar. That's what Oi! Oi!
I hear something unusual.
Oi! I mean, it's not like Chopper's level. It's not Chopper's, but yeah, it's decent. It's decent. Again, when it's a getter track, you're always going to have that weight to it. And when you add a bit of space laser to that as well, there's not loads going on, but this is kind of what you'd expect from these two. Yeah, it's just that, I think it's just that little bit too slow for what they're going for, maybe. I think if you're gonna go that slow with the BPM, then yeah, you kind of have to have a little bit more going on. Otherwise, it just drags that little bit. Like, yeah, the weight of it was there again. The production had that, you know, just big feeling about it, you know, colossal feeling to it. But it's just lumbering that little bit too much. Where like, I just need a couple more things just to bring the energy into it and push it along that bit more effectively. Because there are points where you're just like, oh, it's just a little bit too sluggish. You know, taking my feet, ripping my feet out of the quicksand kind of vibes and trying to get away. Good sounds in there for sure. Like, you can clearly hear it's both of them. I think that introduction is just vintage laces. Decent combination, but you know, far from a Chopper's if we're being frank, if we're being honest. But yeah, Eye of Zaffo featuring Moody Good. Track number 4 penultimately, and Mile and Away, the shortest cut here of the 5. The execution is very like... Okay, yeah, okay. I think that's my favourite. I think those are my favourite ideas, but the execution was really interesting. Like the sound didn't sound full or like actualized at all. Was that just me, or did it have like a bit of an incomplete kind of high pitched muffled feel to all the heaviness, where it just, you know, it just had like a, I don't know. It didn't feel like the sound didn't feel like it was hitting properly. Definitely not all of the tracks here have that. Like the three before that we've just heard have got this really like full, whole, warm sounding, you know, approach. Whereas that just felt like a bit too thinned out in the higher end of the sound, you know. It's just like, I don't know, didn't have like a bassiness to kind of root itself in. The kicks and the snares were all just like thinned out at the top. It was just really interesting. But the idea was, again, like maybe my favourite that we've got on the EP so far, the drop ideas that we got there. That track in the heaviness was kind of finding all the available kind of nooks and crannies to kind of dip and dive into, you know. Dip, dive, dodge, dive and dip and dodge. They were going all in those little bits of the track, you know, like taking those risks maybe where the other tracks before weren't as much. But yeah, the execution and just the sound of it was just interesting. I'm going to have to get used to that. Moving on, track number 5 is Lung, finishing us off with the EP. Shaz says, with names like this as collabs, you should have an EP for the ages, but they all leave me disappointed. I had to read that out quickly because the message was vanishing. And we've got this final cut of the EP, the only solo one. Okay. I mean, this sounds like a proper trenchy, gettery kind of track from the mid 2010s in a way. Now, don't be saying that. That's a bit strong. That's a bit strong. Come on, let him ease himself back in. He's a legend. He deserves to be eased back in. And don't stop with that. You can stop with that. Come on. Let him find his way back in. I mean, this is not him at his electrifying best, I don't think, but you know. And there is the EP. It's an interesting one. It's an interesting one. One of moments, I think. It feels actually almost a little bit experimental with some of the style approaches, some of the execution, some of the track lengths, some of the, you know, drops within tunes, feeling a little bit not disconnected, that might be a bit strong, but like one doesn't fully lead on from the other. It does just have a big feel of Guetta kind of back into the swing of things and throwing a couple of tracks out there that aren't like massively ambitious for him if we're talking about Guetta and we know what he can do, what he's capable of. Quite a bit of this material just seems a little bit fine, just kind of agreeable, not a lot of risk taking here. Let me kind of caveat that with the fact of like, you know, again, I'm just massively happy that he's like back and firing and doing this alone. You know, just doing it is great. Like him being back in the scene of heavy bass music, of dubstep music is fantastic. We all love that. But there's definitely more to come from him. Like again, we all know what he can do. We all know what he's capable of. This feels a little bit like, okay, I just want to ease myself back in. I want to get that confidence back with making music like this. Because don't forget what he went through, by the way. He's going to come in a little bit tentatively, you know. It's a scene that shunned him in quite a big way. Not everyone did that, obviously, but quite a few people just were horrible to him. So he has to bring himself back into that. That is okay, but I do hear it, you know, especially with the collaboration roster that we have with this EP. I am like, yeah, you do want a little bit more. You want a little bit more adventure. You want a little bit more excitement. You want to feel and hear the collective powers of those producers, right? But yeah, I think there's more to come. I think there'll be more to come from him on this front. I'm hoping for that anyway, because yeah, he's made some of our, you know, collectively some of our favorite music of the last 10 years plus, you know. So we just want to hear a bit more of that excitement again, and this doesn't quite get there, I don't think. Again, like considering him and who else is involved. But yeah, I will leave that one there, guys. Doom 2 by Guetta. Yeah.